Welcome back, YouTube fans, to TwoGunTerry and Friends. I'm TwoGunTerry, and today we're out again at the beautiful OK Corral in sunny South Florida, Okeechobee, Florida to be specific, and it's a beautiful day here in Florida.
Are you ready?
It is December 4th. The Florida State Championships are actually going on up in Volusia County, about 3 hours north of us, that I just couldn't get there. Had a little car accident last night. Somebody got cut off and they swerved into my lane and hit the back of my car. Very nice person. I feel terrible for her, but she was honest and owned up to it, so so it is what it is. It's a small problem to have. The good news is the car still runs, and it brought my rear end out here today to do some shooting in the local match. So that's exactly what we did. I shot Rimfire Pistol Open and Rimfire Pistol Rifle Open this morning. Had some incredible single string runs, a 164 on Smoking Hope, which I've never done before. And in fact, I even said, that's not right, check the timer, and I started to take some ammo out of one of the other mags to load up another one, because I swore I didn't do that. It felt like a great run, but I've never gotten that low before. I figured they didn't pick up the last shot. Son of a gun, there were 5 shots there. 164 for Big T. First time ever getting that kind of time, with my rifle, of course. Other than that, with the rifle again, out on speed option, I think it was the rifle, a 215 or 214, something like that. Another incredible run for me. I've hit those times in practice from time to time, not often, blind squirrel finds a nut, but today I did it in a match and it's documented. And of course my friends are going to give me a hard time because you're a 275, 250 kind of shooter on speed option, but no, again, they checked the timer. It was 5 shots, well documented by well-known people. If you look at my squad, you'll see who was on that squad, and that it was definitely what the times were. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and show you my latest rifle a little bit closer. We'll do a review of it, and then I'll show you how it shoots. So let's get started. All right, so I'm here at the safe table, and I've taken my ammo out of my bag, left it in my cart. It's just my bag and my rifle. Of course, my TwoGunTerry American flag bags, which I love, shows my patriotism, because I do love this country. Despite what's going on right now, it's still the best place on earth to live. Just ask everybody that's trying to get in. I'm going to show you my Rimfire Rifle Open Gun. You know, it's very confusing these days. They say Rimfire Rifle Open is what it should say, but now they're called Rimfire Rifle Optic. So I don't know if that's the official word or not, but I'm an old timer, so I still call it Rimfire Rifle Open. Millions and millions and millions of Ruger 1022s out there in the world, but not many that look like this one. In fact, I don't think any look like this one. I call it my Franken rifle. It's anything but. It's really the best parts that money can buy, in my opinion, because they work well together. Reliability, number one. It's flagged, chamber's empty, no magazine in the well, and the hammer's down, so the gun's safe. We're in the safe table. The berm is that way, so I have the rifle pointing towards the berm. That's the safe way to do it. Starting from the front, you'll notice that I don't have a compensator on my rifle. I've shot comps for years because A, they look cool, but B, they make this rifle, which is very quiet, they make it a little bit louder so that the timer picks up the shots. Since I've taken off the comp, occasionally I got to remind the ROs to hold the timer out for closer to as close to the front of the gun or in the direction of the front of the muzzle of the rifle as possible, because if they don't do that, they may or may not pick up the shot. Some ROs hold the microphone pointing the wrong direction, or they have their hand over it. But if you turn the timer upside down and you use your ring finger to operate the buzzer, the start button on the timer, with the microphone pointing towards the shooter's muzzle, and you have the readout pointing towards you, it's just kind of backwards, upside down from the bottom, instead of pushing from the top that most people want to do, including me. But when I learned to do it with the ring finger from underneath, works much better when I'm timing people and ROing a shooter. All right, so starting from the front of the rifle, you'll notice I took my compensator off. I took it off because the comp gets gummed up after a month or two of shooting a lot of rounds like we do. You either have to chip it out of there, or some companies make a tool to ream it out, or use a drill bit the exact size of the hole. You don't want to damage your crown or muzzle of the barrel. Volquartsen sells a tool to clean the inside of their comp, and others just chip it away with a chisel and a screwdriver and tap that stuff out. You got to be careful. You don't want to damage the actual comp itself. If you don't want to take a chance of chipping that stuff out with a hammer and chisel or a hammer and screwdriver, then there's a solution that you can make. And I'm sure that there's probably also a commercial version of the same thing, but you can soak the comp in a solution mixed with white vinegar, distilled water, and hydrogen peroxide. I think you put the hydrogen peroxide and the vinegar together. You soak for an hour or two. Do it outside because it sends off poisonous fumes. Must do it outside. And then they put it underwater. You rinse it thoroughly with water to stop the chemical reaction. Or you can do what I did and just take the darn comp off. On a rimfire rifle, you do not need a compensator at all. Okay, so next part is my barrel. Now, for those of you that have seen me shoot, you know I put my hand, I hold my barrel. I didn't have a handguard on it before. I would literally just hold the barrel. I was able to do that because this is a Volquartsen barrel made of carbon fiber. It weighs a pound or less for the whole thing, 16-inch barrel, and does not get hot to where you can't hold it. It gets warm. After shooting 1,000 rounds, it's going to get warm. But even at 1,000 rounds, I can still hold it in 100-degree Florida weather. So carbon fiber, if you hold your barrel, a really good solution. It's lined with a stainless steel. The actual barrel itself is a stainless steel sleeve inside the carbon fiber wrap. So it has the strength and the same characteristics and the same necessity to clean it as a stainless steel barrel. But the carbon fiber is ultra strong, ultra light, and allows you to put your hand on it because it doesn't get as warm as stainless steel does. You would not be able to hold your barrel 1,000 rounds later in the Florida sun with a stainless steel barrel. Just wouldn't be able to do it. All right, I'm going to skip the handguard for right now, but we'll come back to it because it's all part of a kit. Next part up, let's talk about the upper, which is a kid upper, and it's a kid bolt in the receiver. So I have been shooting this rifle for 4 years, I think it is, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. And I have had 0 problems with my kid receiver. 0 problems. Everybody keeps telling me, oh, you got to switch to Tactical Solutions because it has the 2 guide rods instead of just 1, and 2 springs instead of just 1, which, to be honest, does intrigue me. I'm very curious. Some of my buddies run it and they run it okay, but me, I may as well just stick with what works. I've had no problems. The gun works fine. Reliability is a factor. Trust is a factor. Trusting that the thing is going to go boom when I pull the trigger. And Kid has performed amazingly. So I highly recommend the Kid receiver. If I switch, I'm going to go ahead and give Volquartsen a try, just because my barrel and my trigger are Volquartsen. So I may just go ahead and finish the whole thing up with a Volquartsen bolt and a Volquartsen receiver. By the way, I've never had a problem with any of my Volquartsen stuff, except the comp, which I broke a few times on my pistol. But they sent me a brand new one, no questions asked. Super, super easy, great customer service. No complaints there. The next thing I want to talk about is my trigger. I already alluded to it. It's a Volquartsen, I think they call it a TG2000. Trigger group, TG trigger group. I don't know what the 2000 is. Maybe they designed it in the year 2000. It's a flat face curved trigger. So the front of it is flat, but the trigger itself is curved. And I just get the portion of my index finger that I like to sit right in that little, kind of where the front face meets the side. I kind of put my finger right on that part there and then just pull straight back. Squeeze straight back when you fire. So Volquartsen trigger, again, 200,000 rounds through my last trigger before I had a problem with it. And it was running perfectly. I took it over here. In fact, this same exact safe table, cleaned it, put it back in the gun, and all of a sudden it was not resetting. And it actually affected me at the Area 6 match. I had a problem and had to borrow a trigger from someone. I sent it back to Volquartsen. They repaired it, no questions asked, no problem. First they sent me a spring to see if it was just a trigger spring, and that didn't do it. And then I sent it out to them. They fixed it and sent it back. So that's now my spare trigger, because I went and bought another one because I love Volquartsen trigger, the feel of it. I'm used to it. It's in all my firearms that Volquartsen makes a trigger for, because I like it to be consistent from one firearm to the next. Same with my Seymour. We'll get to that in a second. But the Volquartsen is awesome. By the way, what I think happened to that trigger, it had to be dirt or something getting gummed up low down in the very bottom of the trigger, because in the sear maybe, or the disconnect or somewhere down there, because I cleaned it thoroughly and it was a problem. It could not have been the trigger going bad. Something had to get in there when I was cleaning it and didn't notice it, and it never took the thing apart far enough to find whatever was causing the problem. But like I said, Volquartsen, they fixed it, no questions asked. All right, so where are we? So that our Seymour on top. I've been using a 12 MOA dot because in Florida the sun is so bright, and if it's shining into your sight, it washes it out. So if you have a 12 MOA, it looks more like a 6 MOA, I guess, once it's washed out, but you can still see it. So that 12 MOA dot allows me to find it faster, also going from plate to plate. Now, I'll be honest, I'm thinking about stepping it down to an 8 MOA. I have a couple of the modules. Remember with Seymour, let me see if I have one with me. When you know it, I just took them out of here. I have a couple of, I do have 8 MOA modules, but on a Seymour, you can remove this guy right back here. You just take a couple of screws out. I did a video on that. You can go back and look for my Seymour video. But you just take the module out, you stick the new 8 MOA module in. Now the dot's a little bit smaller. Resight your rifle, just to fire a pistol, whatever you're using, revolver, to make sure that the gun is sighted once you put the new one in. I found it to be pretty darn close to spot on, but check it anyway. It becomes an 8 MOA instead of a 12 MOA. And you keep the 12 MOA module with you, so if you want to switch for some reason, you can. I want to take it down a little bit because with a smaller dot, less chance of missing a plate, especially when you're moving as fast as we are and shooting so close to the edge as we do. So that's the Seymour sight. Now the biggest change I made to this rifle was the Wylan chassis. So I already did a video on the Wylan chassis, but for those of you who haven't seen it yet, the Wylan chassis kit comes with this handguard that slides over the barrel and just kind of gets held in place by this. There's 4 screws here on top that clamp that in. It's not going anywhere. That cushion is on the carbon fiber tube that slides over the barrel, and this cushion or hand grip here is permanently attached. I don't know how it's going to hold up over time. We'll see how it wears, but I have a feeling that they will honor their warranty as well, because it wasn't cheap. It's $350 for this setup, but let's keep going. You'll see what you get, and you'll see why it was so expensive. It's not that expensive. Chassis cost a lot of money. Good chassis cost a lot of money. So the handguard came with it, then the actual chassis itself. And the chassis has some really cool stuff because it's all fully adjustable. The hand grip can move forward and back. The stock can move up and down. The shoulder pad can tilt in and out. And you can actually adjust it right and left as well until you're comfortable enough for your body and your shooting style. I've actually felt when I've come up and tried to go, I think it was pendulum, felt like I came up off target, but then all of a sudden I just felt the rifle shift when I pulled it into my shoulder. As I was pulling it into my shoulder, I felt the rifle shift because the way the buttstock was set. I said, ooh, I don't like that. It was what my immediate thought was. It moved the rifle, but boom, right on target. And then I realized that, oh, that's the way that works. That's okay. So I've kept it that way, and I've been shooting great because of it. It's actually saved me. It has not messed me up. It has saved me. So if you have it dialed in right, this baby's a good idea. So again, the whole buttstock is all carbon fiber. This guy, I don't know what this is made out of. It's something. It's plastic, but you can feel it's really strong. Probably carbon fiber, just not pretty. I don't know what it is, to tell you the truth, but you can feel how strong it is. And you don't have to crank these. In fact, you don't want to crank these the set screws to hold the shoulder pad and the bracket on. If you crank it too much, you'll crack the carbon fiber tube. It's so thin to try and save weight. It's so thin that if you over tighten these screws back here, you will crack this carbon fiber tube. I saw Steve Foster did a video about that, and he cracked his, and he gave the warning, and as I was tightening it, I heard some stuff happening. I go, oh, remember Steve Foster said? So I stopped, and it doesn't move. He was right. It doesn't need much to really lock down. So that is the chassis and the, so I don't know if you can see it or not. The sun and the lighting is not exactly right for this video, but there's a screw in here and a screw back in here that allows, like I said, this up and down, the grip forward and back, right and left on the shoulder guard, or in and out for how you like to grip the gun. So here's what happens. Are you ready? Stand by. Whoop! I'm right there. My cheek is right welded to the pad, nice and comfortable. I could feel this. My old buttstock had a similar design. It was a little shorter, probably ended there. And I was always holding it up this high, it felt like, because there was no adjustment here. So I have this adjusted all the way down to bring the chassis and the sight up. So now I'm looking right down the sight, which was the main reason I bought this chassis. I spent $350 just to get that sight in a comfortable position with my head straight up, so I'm not leaning over. You don't want to lean over like that. You want your head to be straight up and down, so you can reproduce it exactly time after time after time. So that is the new Franken rifle, but today I'm going to give you a special treat. I actually have a new part I'm going to install, which is the cheek riser. So Wyland also makes the cheek riser. A friend of mine bought it for his son. His son didn't like it, so he told me, Terry, if you want it, you can have it. I said, of course I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and install it right now with you. So let's get some tools here. I have to put on my old granddad looking glasses. I'm not a grandfather yet, thank God, but I still can't see regardless whether I have grandchildren or not. So let's go ahead and put this on. I have my hex wrenches with me. It looks like an 1/8 inch over here. Let's see if I'm right. No, I'm not right. It's a little bit bigger. Nope. 5/32 maybe. So 5/32 fit. Okay, that's good. I haven't really looked closely. Actually, that one I leave alone. It's these over here that we want to loosen. Okay, so I'm going to back those out. Ah, look at that. I see. Again, tons of adjustability. I just loosen that up, and when we put it on, I can set the cheek riser at the height I want by tightening up these screws. And then this one clamps it to the actual chassis itself. Now, unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to remove the actual shoulder pad and the bracket. And that's, let me get another size here. This is 3/16. Let's see if that does it. Yep. So I'm going to loosen that up. If I was smart, I would take a marker and mark the bracket and the carbon fiber tube. But I'm not that smart, and I don't want to put a mark on it.
I got so pissed off.
So let's go ahead and take this apart.
And I was hitting it pistol at 50 yards. So look at the plane, I go, watch. I mean, what's the rest of your shooting 150 grain out of a 3 3/4? Then I shoot it.
Gotta loosen that up a little bit more. All right, let's see what that does. What the hell is so tight here still? Let me back it out a little bit more. Still very tight. So I guess you got to get it real loose to get it on here. Yeah, I had quite a few turns left to go. I thought I was further along. Let's see what that does. All right, that was my fault. Fits perfectly. Turn this over. Okay, so now it's on. Now I'm just curious. Now I'm going to set it where it is, but I'm not sure that's the way I want this. Let's just set it on here for now. Again, it's not necessary to over tighten these set screws. So the first thing I notice is that it bumps up against the pad that's already permanently glued on to the tube. So I'm not sure what I think about that yet, but let's see. Seems to be in the right place. All right, let's snug it up a little bit more. All right, let's see what that feels like. All right, let's see what happens if we put this guy back on. I want to get it right back to where it was. So I'm just barely tightening it now just to make sure the feel's there. So yeah, that cheek guard's gonna have to come down for me. Let's see what that feels like. Put my dot on, find a little spot to aim at. Huh. So that actually doesn't feel too bad. I'm going to cock this. For me, I'm cocking the butt plate in, the bottom of it in towards me. I'm kind of twisting it like that. Just maybe a quarter of an inch, not a whole bunch. Huh. All right. So I'm even tilting the cheek riser. I'm tilting the front up and the back down, which kind of forces me to put my cheek right in the same spot every time. Interesting. Let's get this snugged up and we'll go give it a try and see how it shoots. And don't over tighten these, just get them down snug. Once you feel it's starting to get harder, maybe another quarter, half turn tops. And I don't know if I did these or not. Yep, I have it exactly where I want it. That feels good. Oop, back that off a wee bit. All right, let's see now. I have my little dot there that I'm looking for. Woo, right on it. 1, 2, 3. Oh, boy, I want to give that a try and see how that goes. All right, so I just got the rifle set up. You watched me do it. And let's go ahead and give it a try now. We're going to go ahead back to pendulum. Try it again here. That's where I had that good fortune that kind of sold me on the shoulder pad, the butt rest. I don't know what that thing is called, shoulder rest. And wanted to try it again here. Also, when I train, I like to go to the harder stages and shave tenths and off of a second off of these harder stages, because the ones that I shoot all the time and I'm good at, you don't really need to do that. In fact, when I was going to school and studying for college for my exams, one of the philosophies I had was study what you don't know. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. Study what you don't know. If you already know it, people tend to go back and do what they do best over and over and over again. Well, you're already good at that. Study what you don't know, or practice what gives you a hard time, so you can bring that up to what you're already good at. Of course, you got to practice the stuff you're good at to keep at that level or keep growing at that level, but you have to bring the stuff that gives you a harder time up as well. So pendulum's not my worst stage, it's not my best stage. Let's see, which one? I don't know, from a grandmaster point of view, believe it or not, Smoking Hope's the one that gives me the most trouble, but I'm starting to get that shot at 164, one string, a 164. I was flabbergasted. In fact, I didn't believe I did it. I started loading up another magazine because I figured that they only caught 4 of the 5 shots, and they looked at the timer, they're going through it, and son of a gun, it was a real blind squirrel finds a nut, 164 for TwoGunTerry. Never happened before. I'm glad I can do it. I just proved to myself that I can do it. So now to do it regularly and consistently, that's a whole nother ball game. But today, documented with real good shooters that are, pay attention to the scores, a 164. One string. The rest of them were 210s, 220s, but by normal. But a 164 was there. I just let it rip and then connected. Literally, blind squirrel found his nut today. Okay, let's go ahead and shoot this thing. All right, Franken rifle, new cheek rest. I did have to remove the shoulder rest, so I want to make sure that I got that back where it was because I liked where it was. You'll notice that the cheek rest is tilted back. I don't know if that makes a difference or not yet. It's the first time. I think my PCC has a cheek rest, so I do use that, but that one's flat. But I'm very curious to see if tilting it back forces my cheek to land in the same spot each time. Let's see what happens. We're shooting Blazer ammunition today, 22 long rifle, Blazer 40 grain. I usually use them just for practice because they simulate my mini mags very, very well. Around 1,235 feet per second on the mini mags. These are 1,200 as well. So very, very similar feeling. And I shot them in the match this morning, 2 guns, 400 plus rounds, and 0 problems. So we're gonna go ahead and use them again. So Blazer is an inexpensive ammo that works really well. If you can get it and save a few bucks, why not shoot it? You may have to clean your gun a couple extra times, but that's, a small price to pay for getting ammo on the cheap, which is very hard to do these days. All right, let's see what we got here. So, ears on, eyes on, sight on. My mag is in and loaded, a full magazine. Put one in the chamber. Now we're ready to shoot. I'm not going to use a timer because I'm just trying to get a feel for the rifle. I'm just making adjustments. So I don't really care what the time is right now. I just want to see what it feels like when I'm shooting it. One of my concerns about the cheek rest is that when I bring the rifle up, like so, I hope it's not gonna, I don't want my cheek hitting the cheek rest and stopping the rifle from coming up to where I want it, especially on these 6-foot outside plates. So that's what I'm looking for first. Then I'm looking for the shoulder rest to be canted the way I want it and comfortable, and that my head is upright, looking down, straight down through the sight. Couple of misses there, but that's because I wasn't focused on what I was doing. I was focusing on this stuff. Let me just shoot now and see what happens. Okay, that was better. Let's do it again. I would say I'm pretty darn close. Very, very close. Let's have another mag. I always line up on the toughest shot. So for me, it's plate 3 and 4. So I'm going to go ahead and split the difference between 3 and 4. Get my body squared up there so that when I get to that point, my body's already in a comfortable position. Oh yeah, one other key component of this rifle are the butt pads on my mags. These are Ruger mags. This is a clear mag. I use some clear, some black. I don't really care about that. I like the clear because I can see how much ammo I have in each magazine. But I'm really looking for mags that function 100% of the time, all the time. The 6 that I have in my kit are 6 that work all the time. If one starts to fail, it goes away. And I find another one. I have 25 of them at home. take another one that works all the time and add that back to my 6 competition mags. Oh, so there's one more part I want to show you with the magazines, is this magazine extension on the bottom, the green part there. Those are CNC'd and Cerakoted by a guy, and numbered, by the way. They're also numbered. Let me show you this. You can see that they're each numbered. This is my 5th mag. I keep them numbered, so if something goes wrong with one, if I keep having a problem, oh, that was number 5 again. Oh, that was 5 again. 5 goes away, a new one comes back in. Tells me which magazine is bad, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So these are made by a guy named Kirk Grimes. He's out of California. He has representation on Facebook, not a website, but a Facebook, Kirk Grimes, Kurtgrimes. He makes them, I forget what they cost. He sells them in sets of 6. They're a little pricey because they are aluminum and they are CNC'd. But I have 2 sets of them, and it just makes it easy to make sure that the magazine is seated all the way properly and taking it out of the rifle when you need to. Mine used to drop right out, but with this new chassis, it's a little tighter. It doesn't drop, so I pull them out now. All right, let's shoot it again. I'm still distracting myself by thinking of different things, but as you can see, it's shooting all right. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to keep it 100% like this, but I'm 95% of the way there. Last mag. So as you can see, the shoulder rest, I have this part digging in right below the ball of my shoulder. And when I bring it, it starts looking like this, but this bottom piece, which is angled, is what's up against my shoulder. And when I roll the gun up, it just comes right to the same spot. Because I feel it in the exact same spot every time. So when I bring the rifle up, boom. It's pivoting in that same exact point each time, which is what you're looking for, consistency. You want the way you hold your rifle, the way you pull your trigger, the way you're looking at your sights. I'm not sure about that last one, but you want everything to be consistent. You can change the way you look at the sights. Sometimes I'm looking at the target, sometimes I'm looking at my dot, sometimes in between, but you know, looking through the dot kind of is probably what I do most of all. But if you can get exact placement of the rifle on you, and your hand in the right spot, and your finger in the right spot on the trigger, and your forehand in the right spot, and your elbow up in the right spot, and your legs set and your feet set all in the same exact spot every single time, reproducible. That's a Jerry Michalak comment. Reproducible every single time. Then all you have to do is put the dot on the target and pull the trigger, as long as the gun's sighted in. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's what this Wiland USA kit helps me do. All right, she's running good. She's running good. So there is one more thing I wanted to show you about the rifle configuration. That's these base pads. They're made by a guy named Kirk Grimes, Kurtgrimes. I'm sorry, Grimes, out of California. He has a Facebook page. I believe it's Kirk Grimes Competitive Shooter. So he makes these base pads. They're made out of anodized aluminum. They're CNC'd and numbered. That's engraved numbering. And he has multiple colors to choose from. Cerakoted. So he sells them in sets of 6. I own 2 sets. I only used 1 set. I had to have 2 because I wanted a backup set of or when I finally build my rimfire rifle iron sight gun, I'll have a set for that. I got them in green because my theme was Franken rifle, but now that the rifle's starting to look more like what it should, maybe I'll have to get a different color set of base pads. So watch for these to be on sale soon. Used set of base pads for on sale in somewhere, for sale I should say. All right. So I slowed it down just a little bit, maybe a tenth or two, and it's 5 for 5, nice and clean. It felt like it was taking forever, but I guarantee you if I had the timer running that those were going to be good times. Certainly much better than doing makeup shots in a match. All right, that's it for Franken Rifle review. It's been a great rifle. I love it. I don't have any reason to change anything else at this point. Or add anything that I can think of, but I'm sure they'll come out with something. And a gun that runs perfectly for some reason, shooters always change it and try to make it better. But in this case, it did. I think that Wylan chassis is a winner. A little bit heavier than my old chassis, which was a PCAMA chassis, all aluminum. This one has a little more meat to it, but overall, the adjustability more than makes up for that little bit extra weight. TwoGunTerry out at OK Corral. You guys have yourself a wonderful holiday if we don't meet again before then. I'm going to. The lights are up. The trees are up. We're all ready to go there at the Merla World Ranch. And wishing you a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season and the new year. TwoGunTerry loves you guys. We'll see you out at the range. Take care now. That's all I have for now. Thank you for stopping by. And remember to like, subscribe, and do what?
Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you.
Are you ready?
Make it. Two guns!